curiosity, what did you tell your family that you did?
Well, I told them that before we went to court, I told them what really happened, that I was at that moment alone taking care of her, and I started touching her. It was something that I really can't explain what happened. There's no excuse for it.
And did you tell them about the licking part as well?
Yes. And I know she's hurt. I'm hurt. Everybody's hurt.
That's not an apology, sir.
We are about to watch the parole hearing of a man who has the monstrous sentence of just 3 years and up for parole after serving just 2. You might not believe it if you didn't see it. Let's jump in.
Morning, my name is Parole Officer Menard. Today is Friday, July 12th, 2024, and this is the hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this morning, and by stating their names on the record, certify they reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, sir. I'm Jennifer Zachnini.
Good morning.
Good
I'm
morning.
Jennifer Page.
Good morning, Joy Chance.
Good morning.
And also present is OVS Nina Vasquez. Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Yes, my name is Rafeal Barreto. Inmate number is 442280.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Rafeal Barreto, inmate number 442280. He is serving a sentence of 10 years executed suspended after 3 years jail with 10 years of probation for sexual assault in the 2nd degree. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of April 2nd, 2024. There is victim input in this case. There's no offender accountability plan for the offender. However, the offender has completed the short-term sex treatment and is participating in good intentions, bad choices. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score on the SRT falls within the low range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for the sexual offense recidivism falls within the low range. This is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
Yes, I have done the 2 programs, like he said, sexual offender and good choice, bad intention, I don't know the name of it, excuse me, a little bit nervous. And I would like the opportunity to start healing in the programs that we had. It's a process where we could start healing with the family. It's healing with the family.
Start healing.
Yes, it's been a year and a half I've been in here, and I would like to start that process because there's a lot of people that have been hurt with this happening, and part of it I didn't have the chance to in court. The day that I was in court, there was no family member of the other side, and I couldn't express that I was sorry for what happened.
Well, you can do that now, sir.
Yeah, I know. I know the only thing I can do is pray for them. I can't do nothing else. But with my wife, my daughters, my son, there's a healing process that I have to go through with them, because they're too are hurt. And for them giving me the opportunity to come back into their life and start this process is very important for them and for me to do so.
Okay. Thank you for your statement, sir. We do have questions for you. When we're done with our questions, we'll turn the hearing over to the Office of Victim Services for input. Then we'll deliberate and give you our decision here today. And we'll
Okay.
begin with my colleague, Ms. Page.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Barreto, he said something like
Barreto.
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 No, Barreto.
Barreto.
It's just like it's spelled.
Yeah, he said.
Yes.
What's your name?
Barreto, Rafeal Barreto.
Barreto. Yeah, Barreto.
Sorry, I apologize. I tried to write it out phonetically and it just didn't.
Barreto.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your opening statement, and I'm glad that you were able to rekindle your relationship with your wife and your children. And so, I heard you talk about the family starting the healing process. Were you referring to your family or were you referring to the victim?
No, for my family.
For
My
your
family, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so what do you think the impact of your actions had on the victim?
On the victim, I don't know, because I don't know, but I could feel what she has to be going through, because I went through that when I was a little kid.
I understand, but what do you think she's feeling?
What do you think? What do I think she's feeling? I can't even imagine what she's feeling.
Just out of curiosity, what did you tell your family that you did?
Well, I told them that before we went to court, I told them what really happened, that I was at that moment alone, taking care of her, and I started touching her. It was something that I really can't explain what happened. There's no excuse for it.
And did you tell them about the licking part as well?
Yes. They read everything, the statement that.
I was just wondering if you admitted it to them.
Yes,
so that they-
yes. I admitted in court. They were all in court.
And you said in your opening statement that you wish that you could
express to the victim and her family your remorse.
Oh,
And the chair gave you an
Because
opportunity to do it.
there wasn't another. They wasn't present in court.
I understand, but I'm saying to you that you can express your remorse now, as the chair
Yeah.
stated. So you can make it.
I would have liked to. I would have liked to express to them my remorse, and
Go ahead.
Then
Go
I
ahead.
was
You have an opportunity right now. You're
Yes.
listening.
okay, I am really sorry for what happened, and I know she's hurt. I'm hurt. Everybody's hurt,
That's not an apology, sir.
and I apologize. Yes, I apologize for that.
You apologize for hurting her? Is that what you're trying to
Yes,
say?
yes.
And so you completed the sex offender treatment there in the facility, but you said in your evaluation that you don't believe that you need additional treatment.
Can you explain to us why?
Well, I've been reading the Bible. I have had the time in here to go into the Bible and exhort a lot of things, in my soul and in my mind.
What does that
So,
have to do with?
Jesus, I feel Jesus in my heart and in my
So you didn't
soul.
feel Jesus when you were doing this?
I was going to church, but I wasn't.
But my point is, sir, that you know, your religion, while I can appreciate that, and your faith is strong, that's great. But do you have any insight as to why you committed these offenses?
It was something that I had since childhood. It was in me. It was
Okay.
something that happened to me, and I think it was back there in my mind that led me to do what they did to me.
But were you when they did do that, when you experienced that, was it hurtful for you?
Excuse me?
When you were molested as a child, was that hurtful for you?
Yes.
So
yes.
why would you put that kind of pain on another person?
I really can't explain that.
That's my point. That's why you need treatment. That's why you need the treatment, sir. They will help you explore in depth what was going on with you and what led you to behave in this manner, because this is not normal. And what you said was that you were capable of not returning to prison and never doing this again. And I would challenge that statement and say that if you were capable of never doing it again, you would know why you did it in the first place and avoid doing it. And but you don't know why you behaved in this manner, especially with the understanding that this was painful and hurtful for you. To take it out on another child is just unfathomable.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
So when you were in your sex offender treatment, you were able to learn some techniques for distraction. Explain to us what those things are.
I learned for distraction how to put my mind into something else. Go away from a situation where I could get into this problem again. Back away, call people to be with me, not being alone with another minor.
Okay.
That's what mostly I observed from that treatment.
And you also discussed your internal risk factors.
My internal risk factors.
Yes. Can you identify any of those?
Risk factors. No, I don't understand it.
I know. That's why you need the treatment. Yeah. So, I just don't want you to go in there thinking that you have this all figured out, because there is still a lot more work for you to do. And although I can sympathize with the pain that you've endured with your family and the trust and the bond that was broken because of this, the victim in this case will continue to experience this for the rest of her life. You're a 62-year-old man, and you're telling us today that you experienced this as a child. So just imagine how old she will be and still dealing with it.
Yes, I understand that.
Lifelong impact. So I appreciate your speaking. Wait, I have one last question. Were you going to take this case to trial?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you. Mr. Barreto, I understand you have some difficulty with literacy, reading and writing.
Yes.
Were you able to understand everything that was taught in the treatment program?
Yes. I understand English. I could read it. I just can't write it.
Okay. All right. So in the community, would you prefer to have Spanish speaking sex offender treatment? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You understand there's protective orders in place for the victims, right?
Yes,
So that means zero contact, not through family, not through anywhere, no contact
yes,
at all.
I understand.
Okay. All right, Ms. Chance?
I just have one question. So, Mr. Barreto, you identify the iris for you in the community is being around children under the age of 60.
Yes.
So how are you going to manage that risk?
Yeah, well, right now I live alone with my wife, and we already we talked about it, and she was the person that they called to sponsor me, and we have a plan where mostly I'm going to be at work. I'm going to be at work, coming back home. We probably going to have the same time frame for us to be home, but for her to visit the rest of the family, we would do that together. We would be always together in terms of visiting family or other grandchildren.
Wait, so you say you read the Bible a lot. Are you going to be
Yes.
going to church too?
Yes, yes. Yes.
And there are children in church.
Yes, but we're in the church around people. There was, and you know, it's not something that we're in private. We're in public. Yeah, but
Sorry, I just want you to know, if there's a condition that you can't have contact with minors, it doesn't matter if you're in public, it doesn't matter if you're with other people. No contact with minors means no contact with minors.
okay.
Whoever gave you the
Yeah,
impression, if you have the impression that it's okay that you're with your grandchildren because your wife is there, that's not correct.
no.
You need permission from your parole officer to have contact with
Okay.
anybody every single time. If you don't have permission, you're not in the presence of a minor.
Okay,
Do you understand that?
Even if there's other person.
Even if that would be called supervised contact with a minor. No contact means none at all. Even if there's other people around, that doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
Sure. That's probation and parole. No contact means you're not around them at all. Whether it doesn't matter who else is there.
All right.
So yeah, you have to be very, very careful about that. Yeah.
Well,
The conditions are very strict for a reason. Where was your wife when this was happening?
She was at that time, I think she was in school at that time.
So you waited until she went to school every time?
Yeah, I think she was in school at that time.
She went to
was
school
studying,
every day?
yeah, she became a phlebotomist. She was
Okay,
going
but
every day.
my point is, she was living there and somehow had no idea this was going on. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm sorry to interrupt, Ms.
That's
Chan.
all. I'm all set.
Oh, okay.
I was just
right.
concerned about that part of it.
Thank you, appreciate it. And at this time, we're going to turn the hearing over to the Office of Victim Services for input. Ms. Vasquez, thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and good morning, board members. Thank you for allowing me to be here. I am going to be reading 3 statements, and one of them is from the victim. They read like this. Good morning, board members. I am the victim of this case, and I am personally against Mr. Barreto getting out of prison early. Mr. Barreto has not had the necessary time of rehabilitation, and I fear that some family members are misled by his wife enough to put my younger cousins in jeopardy by leaving them around him. Him coming out early from prison, there is still uncertainty that he has changed so easily within his current sentence, because this is an issue that is far too sensitive and shouldn't be taken as lightly as 2 years. This man did not abuse me as lightly. Thank you. Good morning, board members. Hello, my name is Felix Burgos, and I am the victim's father. I am here to say that my daughter has been diagnosed with PTSD, and she still has nightmares about the rape. I think he should do the full time because he will be free one day, but my daughter has to live with this for the rest of her life. She is still seeing a therapist. Her little sister was also a victim, but that is a whole different case, and I only have control over what happens to my daughter. Please take all of I said into consideration. Imagine if it was your kid, what would you do? I would like to also say that this has also affected me, her grandmother Margarita, and her aunt Merlix. Good morning, board members. I, Margarita Santiago de Burgos, I am the paternal grandmother of NMB. And I want to establish and make very clear to the panel that Mr. Rafeal Barreto, that I am strongly opposed to this person being released from the short term of 3 years that he was sentenced, or of any other arrangement that will help him reduce the 3-year sentence. As the grandmother, I am here at this meeting to support and help my granddaughter who was the victim of a horrific sexual abuse by this individual in her early childhood. Rafeal Barreto destroyed my granddaughter's life completely, causing physical, emotional, and psychological damage. My granddaughter, my girl, has suffered a lot and continues to suffer from those memories of pain and abuse caused by this individual. Neliani suffers from nightmares, insomnia, depression, physical deterioration, fear, and insecurity, always thinking that something bad is going to happen. On certain occasions, she has attempted to self-harm by cutting herself due to the abuse caused by this individual. She also has difficulty socializing and making new friends. I believe that an adult who caused so much harm to a girl in her childhood deserves a sentence of more than 3 years. He must serve in prison the short period of 3 years that he was sentenced to, so that he can at least think and have more insight about the harm that he caused my granddaughter. Damage that she will carry and torment her and her family throughout the entire life. Rafeal Barreto must serve the entire Rafeal Barreto must serve the entire sentence of 3 years or more in prison. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is all I have for today's hearing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Sir, you said you finished the Good Intentions, Bad Choices program?
Only one class to finish.
Oh, you have one more? When is that?
That's where to do the assessment.
Yeah, when do you go for that?
Tuesdays.
Oh, Tuesday. Okay. All right, we're going to deliberate about your case now, and we'll give you our decision shortly.
Okay.
Ms. Page?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Mr. Barreto is considered a low risk. This is his only criminal conviction. He has completed the necessary programs or the programs that we would like him to complete. I think a Voices program would help him understand the impact that his actions have on this child. But I'm sure the statements that were read gave him a little bit of insight. I understand that he has the 10 years of probation to follow his sentence, and that this 3 years that he was given in connection to this offense was very light in my opinion. So despite his being a low risk and taking programs and receiving no disciplinary infractions, I think the nature and circumstance of this offense and the injury and impact to the victim and the victim's family is reason enough to deny his request for discretionary parole. So I hope it's to deny.
Okay. So for me, I think there is still work to be done. I appreciate the input from the victim and family, and I would agree 3 years is not enough. It's never enough, right? Time when someone, especially a child, is hurt like this. But I do think that Mr. Barreto has some more work to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's his own limitations, a language barrier, or what it is, but I don't think he can benefit any more from programming in the institution. I think he's done all that he's going to do and has gotten anything that he can out of it already. So I'd like to see him start his strict supervision under the special management unit and programming in the community so that we really can't avoid anything like this happening again in the future. So for those reasons, I would vote to grant. Ms. Chance?
So, Madam Chair, I absolutely agree with what both of you say. I consider it low risk, but high stakes. I too agree that he seemed to have a lot more to learn in terms of how he would behave and what he would do when he finds himself around young children. And for me, that's a high stake. He was 58 when he did this, and I cannot vote for him to go out on discretionary.
Okay. All right, what are your reasons for denial?
The first three, nature.
Nature and circumstance, victim impact.
I would add, Madam Chair, inadequate
Evidence of offended. Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I mean, I'll put it, but I think there's some change. I think he's just not capable for whatever reason. You know, he took the programs, but if you want to put it, if you guys want to put it up.
No, agree and empower.
All right. All right. In the matter of Rafeal Barreto, inmate number 442280, there's a motion to deny parole for the following reasons: the nature and circumstance of the offenses and injury and impact to the victim and the victim's family. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'm opposed. I would have granted parole for the reasons that I already stated. Sir, your parole has been denied and it's a majority decision. We certainly hope you'll continue to work on yourself, and you do have 10 years of probation, so take advantage of that time to get the help that you need, okay? We wish you the best.
Okay, thank you.
This concludes the hearing for Rafeal Barreto, inmate number 442280. All set.
Jennifer Zaccanini, she's normally really good and she wanted to grant. How is that possible? To use, what was the word she said? I don't think he can get any more done in prison, so I want him to start with supervision. That makes no sense. I don't get it, man. Where's the consistency? She served as a member of the board since 2008. She began a career as alternative incarceration center in Waterbury, responsible for direct supervision of 40 facility residents in pretrial probation or parole status, receiving services and work release opportunities. She worked for the Connecticut Department of Children and Families as a social worker in treatment and investigation units, and as a social worker supervisor. I mean, she literally has seen this over and over and over again. In these positions, she assisted the agency in responding to allegations of child abuse and neglect, and ultimately made the decision of determination whether a child was at risk or at harm. I don't understand. How is this possible? These are the people protecting our children. And again, normally she's good, but I what is wrong with this system? It's like in one sentence, 3 years is not a harsh sentence. It's not long enough, but let's parole because, you can't get anything out of it. I mean, who cares that we just heard 3 victims begging not to parole him? Who cares? And to my surprise, you had actually Miss Chance and Miss Page. Chance usually grants like whatever, everyone, and Page is kind of a flip of the coin. I feel like, but usually Page grants. I mean, I've gone yelling at Page probably a dozen times already. I mean, she was before her qualifications before becoming a full-time board member was being a paralegal at Bernstein and Bernstein for 15 years, interviewing clients. It was like, are you injured law firm? I mean, how is that qualification? But hey, we're looking at a monster who at this age we don't know the age of the child. By the statement that was written, she seems to if that was written by her. What we do know is simply that he was sentenced in 2022. Can you even imagine? It's 7/17/2024. He sentenced 12/5/2022. He's barely even gotten his pillow his prison pillow in the proper shape, and he's already getting a parole opportunity. And what is it that he gets? So he's arrested on 7/14/2020. I'm guessing that he bonded out. Yeah, he definitely bonded out, because otherwise his sentence would have been with good time. Between the ages, so it's just his victim under 18, but where he's a guardian. He had to pay a $151 fine. Who writes this legislation? What does a $151 fine even mean? Like, seriously, was this written back when $151 was worth like $1 billion? Like, what is this? It's where did they come with these numbers? Sentenced to 10 years jail, but suspended after 3, and probation for 10. So again, I don't know why you need to rush into the probation. It's just, and you clearly see here watching his parole hearing, and it's not just us, and I know I feel like a broken record, but it doesn't, we got to speak up. We got to show how broken the system is. And thankfully he was denied. He could have easily have been granted if he had come in and just spoken with a little bit, if he had just put on the act, if he had gone through the motions that they wanted, they would have granted. They would have granted quite, but he's what did he say? Oh yeah, I was going to church. Oh, I found God. I mean, all the classic, the classic lines. And then you find out in there that, they kind of digging in. Well, when were you doing this? When your wife went to school, your wife went to work? Like, that's what you were. Oh yeah. And then you find out in the victim impact statements that his wife is like an enabler, denying that we don't know the details, but it clearly seems that she was in some way an enabler of it, which is scary, right? And I think Miss Chance actually said one of the most profound things, which is he's a low risk but high stake. And of course, we know the low risk is insanity. Like, they're basing it off of, he's a first-time offender. He was 56 when he offended. And as far as we know, it's one time. And it's like, how is he low risk? Oh, we don't write the algorithm. We're not PhDs. We don't understand the rocket science behind this. We're just stupid. We're just sheeple. Silly Mandoo. Don't question the authorities and their risk scores. Insane. But yeah, low risk, high stake. And it's like, who are you? Who are you? There's just no logic to it. I can't wrap my mind around it. It's insane. Who is benefiting by this monster going back out into society? The family is there. They need to see justice, which wasn't justice. How is 3 years justice? Oh my God. I want to give also, I don't think I've given the victim advocate that reads those impact statements credit. She does a good job. She puts emotion into it. She should be on the parole board. They need a victim's advocate like what they have in Louisiana. It's just, you can't have these parole hearings go through where it seems that the victims really don't mean much. They don't come into, their feelings aren't taken into account the same way that it is in Louisiana. But any judge that hands out a 3-year sentence, it's just crazy. It really is. I mean, we're talking about altering the life of a child. We're talking about just probably that this person, I shouldn't say, how do I say this with, maybe data would support the idea that someone who does this once, it's only that they're caught once, that they've done it before. I mean, data probably supports that this person is dangerous and would do it again. But a judge says, can you imagine a judge doing that? It's just, there's something crazy about the system. Thank you, Richard, for the info. There's nothing else I can share on this. So with that, we'll jump into the next hearing.
Mr. Ramos,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can, ma'am.
My name is Parole Officer Logan. Today is Friday, June 28, 2024, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this afternoon, and by stating their names on the record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation for this hearing.
Nancy Turner.
Mike Cole. Good afternoon, panel member Rodriguez.
Good afternoon.
State your name and inmate number for the record.
Oswaldo Ramos, 439754.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Oswaldo Ramos, 439754. He is serving a sentence of 3 years, followed by 5 years special parole for kidnap second and strangulation second. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of May 8, 2024. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows that he has not completed any programs. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Ramos, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I believe I should be granted parole. I made a lot of bad choices in my life. I've really learned from this one. First of all, I'm truly apologize for violating your state. I didn't mean any harm over here, but I've learned from the choices I've made. I'm sick of being tired. I've just turned 50 just last week, became a grandfather while I'm in here. And again, I know either if I get the date or not, whenever that date does come, I learned my lesson pretty much, and I won't have any problems. I know when I get out to get into any trouble or any bad choices I make in my life again. I've learned a lot from this one here. That's all I have in that.
Okay, so what we're going to do here, sir, is take turns asking questions of you based on the documents that were available to us. And then we will discuss your case and make our decision this afternoon. We're going to begin with my colleague, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Ramos, these are very serious charges. Right? And I didn't hear anything from you related to the victim or what went on, or I didn't hear anything about that. And I know that when I read your information, you denied a lot of the stuff. So where are you at now with that?
Sir, I pleaded guilty to the charges. When I was in the state, no matter what, I had everything in my favor when I was fighting this case. Everything in my favor, and I had to plead to the fifth. They said if you take it to trial, that if you blow, they're gonna smoke you. I'm going on 50 years old. I've never had a DV ever in my life, and I was in a no-win situation, let's just say. And I was scared of adding any additional time, and I just happened to cop the fifth and take what was bargained 3 years. I already had almost 2 years fighting this case, and I don't know what else to tell you.
So basically, you're still kind of in that whole denial thing that you didn't do it. It wasn't you. Didn't do it. I take full responsibility because I made the choice to come over here. I made a bad choice coming down here, and I just happened to get caught up at the wrong place, man.
I mean, I don't know what else to tell you, honestly.
Well, I hear you're telling me what you're telling me, which is, basically you deny what happened, you're minimizing some of your stuff, and you're taking responsibility for just coming to Connecticut.
No, I'm
Right.
taking full responsibility for making the choice that I made. I mean,
Well, what's that choice? What do you?
The choice is, sir, to be honest, no matter how this goes, just to be honest with you, I'm not a DV offender. I'm not here for what I was charged with. But again, I was scared about the time that I could have probably been playing with, and I copped out to 3 years. I was at a place called Corrigan, almost 2 years fighting this case. Everything was in my favor. They did something called motion of discovery. I don't know what that is. It's like an investigation. She had 2 other guys locked up with some of the charges. And I'm like, you know what? I respect this is a woman's state. I'm all for the women. But again, this is not my MO. And feeling that I was pleading with these charges and nothing was going on my favor, I took the 3 years and 5 years probation. That's just the honest truth.
Thank you for your response. You had programs that were set up, but I noticed that you didn't take any of the programs.
Yeah, I wrote to them from the beginning. I got here in January, and the only response I got was it's a big waiting list, and that I had to wait. So I just started the class about a week ago.
Which class did you start?
Domestic violence.
Okay. All right, because for us, we kind of base some of our decisions around programming that you've taken and evidence of some change going on, and with the nature of these particular offenses, not having the opportunity to take these programs, kind of affects that, right? You don't have you also have I believe you have you violated your parole from New York.
Yes.
I think you have you're gonna have to. You have a detainer from New York.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's gonna have to be dealt with at some point as well. I'm not sure what to even to say with you, because you haven't done the programs. You just started the program. The offenses are very, very serious. And they're not the only offenses you've had. You've got priors that from New York that are a bunch of priors.
The priors I had in New York, those are crimes I committed. I wasn't I wasn't raised in a pretty much good neighborhood, and I made some real bad choices, like I said. And those are crimes that I did commit, and I served time for it. I had a couple of months left parole. Me and the new parole wasn't really like connecting, and I was trying to ride out a couple of months because the time was still running. But being that I caught this one bid here, the time froze. But when I last spoke to them, they said more or less, we're gonna come pick you up. But you being that the time's already expired in 22 of October, I might just see the judge, it'll be time served, and then whatever time I owe you guys, I will have to probably do in New York if that's the case.
Yeah. I don't really have a whole lot of questions for you, Mr. Ramos. I'm going to pass it on to my colleagues. I wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Pohl.
I have no question about it.
So, Mr. Ramos, are you aware you have a standing criminal protective order against you until the year 2099?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I have no questions for this candidate. We're going to discuss. Give us just a minute, Mr. Rodriguez.
Well, Madam Chair, these are very serious offenses, Mr. Ramos. He feels doesn't feel he pretty much minimized the involvement in the offenses.
I think he flat out denies.
He did tonight. He did. He's not taking any programs. He just started a program. I'm really not in a place right now where I'm willing to support granting discretionary parole today. Maybe he can continue to take programs and finish off his time up to his EOS time to maybe take some additional programming before he's out. That may be able to help him out. Maybe help him make some better choices around his internet work and his working on dating sites and stuff like that. It might be helpful for him. But I am not in a place to grant discretionary parole today.
Well, he does score high for his risk to reoffend. His criminal history dates back to 1995, and he's not been successful on any of the 4 opportunities New York afforded him on community release. To his credit, he hasn't had any disciplinary issues here in Connecticut in prison. But as you said, very serious offenses and very credible account of what happened. So it's a deny for me. And okay, I have nature and circumstance, offense on parole, inadequate program participation, and evidence of offender change.
That's fine.
All right, for his 5 years of special parole, I have parole to his New York detainer, halfway house placement if needed, domestic violence programming, and no contact with the victim, initials SE.
But
Anything?
No.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ramos, in the matter of Oswaldo Ramos, inmate number 439754, there is a motion to deny parole for the following reasons: the nature and circumstances of your offense being committed while you were on parole in the state of New York, inadequate program participation, and evidence of offender change. I further move to set the following conditions for your 5 years of special parole. You're to parole to your New York detainer, halfway house placement if needed. You're to participate in behavior management for domestic violence, and you're to have no contact with the victim, initials SE. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Parole is denied.
This concludes the hearing for Oswaldo Ramos, 439754. Fournier, I will take.
I'm pleasantly surprised. Wow, Connecticut did something right at one of these parole hearings. And the truth is it's hit and miss. Sometimes they have these interviews where they just give a smackdown and everything falls into place. And I feel this love for the parole board. And I'll watch like 10 hearings in one day. And I can't make sense of it because there are some where you have that warm, fuzzy feeling for the board, but then you'll see a hearing immediately after where you see a real Mandoo rage. And I don't get it. So I kind of throw my hands up because I really don't get it. There's got to be something going on that we don't understand. They have like a quota or something. I've learned now when people have flat sentences. So if they don't have special parole, if they don't have, baked in supervision, they like to grant so that there is parole supervision. So that I understand now, but we see cases where that is not the parameter and their granting makes no sense. Now, in this case, they just were like, we have Rodriguez that starts and he's just like, you're not giving me anything. Even Pohl didn't have a comment. And Pohl, the history teacher, former high school history teacher, he likes to grant everybody. And then, of course, they all just said that you're giving us nothing. Now, he starts off with, I'm sorry that I came and violated your state. Yeah. You violated our state. Okay. The only information you have to unpack this is just his arrest record in Connecticut. Maybe if would, I don't know, but he basically has the 2nd-degree kidnapping and he has the strangulation. And he received just a total of 3 years concurrent, special parole 5. And then he has his detainer in New York. Good for him. Oh man, his only mistake was coming to Connecticut. He shouldn't have came to Connecticut. I would say his only mistake is probably when he was in Connecticut visiting his girl, he drank the water. Sir, you should have just taken that bottled water because now you're stuck in the DOC. It's all their fault. It's strange. It was interesting in there, and he's taken no programs. No, there's some people you just can't, they can't even help themselves. All you have to do is take some programs and come in with some type of speech that, some jailhouse lawyer would have written him, and he would have been out. He got sentenced 12/15/2023. He could have gotten paroled 7 months later. Instead, he's going to serve the next 2 years and whatever months locked up. He just threw away 2+ years of his life because I don't know. I guess he had better things to do in prison. But there you have it. And with that, we'll let you go.
Just out of curiosity, what did you tell your family that you did?
Well, I told them that before we went to court, I told them what really happened, that I was at that moment alone, taking care of her, and I started touching her. It was something that I really can't explain what happened. There's no excuse for it.
And did you tell them about the licking part as well?
Yes. And I know she's hurt. I'm hurt. Everybody's hurt.
That's not an apology, sir.